Somebody once said to me that I would go further as a content creator in social media as an entrepreneur if I just toned it down. If I was less opinionated, less visible, I guess, less me. And for a second, more than once, I actually believed them. And if that's ever happened to you before, then keep listening because this episode's for you. Welcome to Random Candace Thoughts. I am Candace, your favorite mom, nana, and overthinker extraordinaire with a million ideas. And when I say that I've always had a million ideas, I am not lying. This morning, I just watched a video because I got access to an old hard drive that I haven't been able to get into. And I watched an old video. It was Christmas 1983. So your girl was two and a half. And my dad had his camcorder, which I'm sure was taking over his entire shoulder. As you know, those ass camcorders they used to have back then. And he had a microphone attached to it. Who do you think was walking around with the microphone? Hello, 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 hello. Daddy, do you see me? Hello, hello. Yes, every video was me just trying to be the center of attention, trying to be visible, trying to make my presence known and share my opinion. So it's a personality trait that's kind of difficult to get rid of. Fast forward, you grow up, things happen. I joined the military. A lot different there. I had to conform to an airman, to what they needed me to be a leader in the military. And that's what I did. So when I retired and came out, I saw content as a way of finding myself again, as being me, as putting myself out there and sharing the real life with people, the real things that happen because it's not all candy colored rainbows and sunshine. It's just not. It's tough. So I wanted to show the real world what life as a mom is like, what life in the military was like, what struggles I went through that maybe I could help other people through. So fast forward, for those of you that have not heard this story before, I'll try and keep it short. I had a TikTok go viral. I started investing in courses, how to learn how to market correctly in the online space, because that's what this is, social media marketing. You're promoting yourself or other products or services, right? So very early on, I sought mentorship and education, and I just try to learn as much as I possibly could about this space because this is good information to know. Like, this is information that I wanna pass on to my kids, to my grandson. Like, I want them to be able to take what I've learned and build and continue to grow. So, I sought out mentorship. It was early on. So, very early on in this mentorship group, I'm creating content and I'm just doing everything, right? Which I was doing too much regardless. I was doing too much. But it was the way that it was said to me that it made me feel super small. It made me feel like I wasn't being taken seriously. And this is a tough journey. This is a tough journey to take, especially if you don't make any money right away, especially if you don't find success right away and gain a million followers in a month. It was the way that it was said that made me feel so small. And that was it. It planted that self-doubt. It made me question every piece of content, every time I used my voice. I mean, my entire online presence, I was questioning at that time just from that one comment. And honestly, was I doing too much? Yes. Could it have been said a little bit differently? Maybe, maybe. But there were times that I cried. I cried about my content, I cried that I wasn't getting the gains that I wanted. I cried because of that self doubt. that was planted. I can't even tell you how many times I've almost deleted everything or held back from sharing something real. I mean, that's why I started this podcast, Random Candace Thoughts. I am random. I am Candace, and this is what I think. I couldn't hold back from sharing the real me. Before that, before the podcast, before I knew how to create content, before I had the skills, 3 years ago, it was that self doubt was all I needed. And I, luckily, in that same mentorship group, met great friends. I mean, my business partner and best friend who I've never actually met in person, but I met her in this group almost 3 years ago. And it was this group, it was these two or three other women that I connected with that I held on to. I left that mentorship group a few months after just because there were some other things that were said about other creators, and I just wasn't there for that because I'm not there for the negativity. I like to lift other people up the ladder with me, not put them down. I mean, if they don't want to climb, that's on them, but I'm going to help them. I want to try. So I quickly left that mentorship group and I stayed connected with this group of women. And every single week we talked. We had a Zoom. Every single week we motivated each other. Every single week we pushed each other forward when we didn't think that we could do it anymore. I mean, the amount of times that we almost gave up and didn't because of another person or because of the other two, I I wouldn't be here. There wouldn't be a podcast. I would have given up because having them in my life changed me. It changed my mindset. They reminded me why my too much was exactly what someone else needed. I stopped editing myself into these little boxes that were built for other people. And I just started being me. And yeah, they told me when I was being too much, but they told me in a way that didn't make me feel small. It made me feel seen. It made me feel like they knew exactly what I needed to hear to get better. And that's what held me together. 100%. That's what's held me together. And that group has grown since then. There's now four of us that meet once a week to motivate each other. We've also built a school community with other creators, and we meet twice a week. And yeah, sometimes there's teaching and there's education, but sometimes there's just discussion. Sometimes there's just mindset. Sometimes there's just a little swift kick that you need to get back in the game. And that's what it's all about. It wasn't that I was being too much. It was that I wasn't being seen. And this is a difficult journey if you don't feel seen in your content, because that's the point. It's a difficult journey if you don't feel seen when you're asking mentors a question and they make you feel less than. There's always gonna be somebody who thinks you're too loud, you're too honest, or you're too confident. But watering yourself down doesn't make you easier for them to digest. It just makes you invincible. And invincible people can't be content creators. Invincible people don't change lives. Invincible people don't build communities. Invincible people don't start movements. And with that, sharing those moments is what helps people. You have no idea how many messages I've gotten about our next segment, Oliver's Light. If you don't know, it's a segment devoted to our grandson, Oliver, that passed in January, sleeping. And I dedicate Oliver's Light every week to showing something beautiful in the world. And I have received so many messages and thoughtful responses from people just saying thank you. Thank you for saying his name. Thank you for remembering him. Grief is something that I've expressed and it's messy. It's messy and it's broken and it's loud and it's silent and there's tears and there's love, but it brings the conversation for the people that need it. Maybe somebody else needs to see that to feel brave enough to do the same thing. So sometimes being too much can be okay. Sometimes talking about your life and your love and your grief and your pain and sharing your story and just being true to who you are is the best thing that you can do in the end. I have shared about the grief of losing Oliver, and I share about him every week. I share about the grief of losing my mom all the time because there's a lot of other people that miss their parents, that miss someone, that have a difficult time processing that, and that just want to be seen. They just want to feel seen. And with that, for a long time, I thought being too much was a flaw and that I had to fix. Like I had to shrink myself or dim parts of my light that made other people uncomfortable. The loud, messy, emotional parts, the dream chaser, the truth teller, the call it like I see it. But here's what I know now. The people who said I was doing too much were never my people to begin with. And the advice that almost made me quit, it wasn't about me. It was about their limits and their fear and their ability to lead outside of their comfort zone. If I'd have listened, I wouldn't be here. I wouldn't have this podcast. I wouldn't have built this life, this business, this community. I wouldn't have helped the people that I've helped or told the stories that needed to be told, including my own. So if you're listening to this and somebody has ever made you feel like you're too much, I hope you know you're probably just right. You're probably just right. And you're not too loud. You're not too sensitive. You're not too ambitious. You're not too real. Maybe you're just too much for them, and that's okay. But keep being too much. Be all of it. Be every single bit of you because the world doesn't need a quieter version. It needs the real one, the raw, unfiltered, unedited, unapologetically you. And the next time somebody tells you to tone it down, just smile at them and remember that you were never meant to be small. That's a wrap on today's episode of Random Candace Thoughts. If you resonated, please make sure you subscribe, like, leave a comment. Find me on social media, just the Blended Wells on Instagram, just a FL Chick on TikTok, and let's connect. Let's connect. Let's talk because that's what I love. I would love to have a listener story to talk about on the next podcast. So, cheers. Have a great week.